Okay, everybody, can I get everyone's attention, please? Or not. I'm good. I'm highly flexible here, all right? But if folks will kind of gather around, I apologize for the lack of seating, but this is part of our fitness program. We're going to be doing some calisthenics after this, just some light workout, some aerobics. It'll all be good. You'll love it. So welcome to the Phase 2 groundbreaking for the factory. I'm pretty sure you all know that because you got the invitation, so shouldn't be any confusion there. This is the second time I've worn a tie in an entire year. And those of you who know me, I usually wear one every day. So it's been kind of liberating, but I did remember how to tie it, which is kind of a miracle. So I do have one thing that I do need to say, and I mentioned this to him yesterday. At last month's town council meeting, our mayor, Jimmy Dancy, pretty much guaranteed we were going to have great weather. So, and his grandson's here, and so what I'm bringing into question is, in his mind, what defines great weather, you know? So I'm just leaving that question out there. So, as you know, we are creating a new facility for KidSenses to continue the enduring legacy of a remarkable institution that engages our children. We have some people here today who have been here since the beginning, and I thank them for providing me with work, for one, which is great, and for having the vision and the courage and the faith to create a resource which has, over the years, transformed this community, inspired thousands of children towards self-empowerment, and it's just a marvelous legacy. And I'm looking over at some of the founders right there, and so on behalf of over 500,000 children, thank you. And yes. The group that founded this museum formed in 1998, and at that time it was kind of spawned by what was then called the Rutherford Town Revitalization Committee, and they were looking for something that was going to help rejuvenate and revitalize Main Street, Rutherfordton, and obviously they succeeded in that goal. They were looking for something that would be sustainable, that would bring income into the community, and what they came up with is something that I think was a surprise to a lot of people. And Katie, am I correct? And when you told people we're building a children's museum, a number of them said, "What's a children's museum?" Right? So now we know. So the doors opened in 2004, and that's a pretty long gestation period. They raised over $2.5 million, and do the math and think of inflation, a remarkable sum in a small community that reflects vision. And as I said when we were at the groundbreaking for Kiwanis Park, they had the 3 Ps. They had passion, which followed from their vision. They had persistence. And then given the length of time that was required to assemble the resources and support for this organization, they had patience. And as every parent here knows, that's certainly a requirement to raise children, and similarly, it's a requirement to create a children's museum. So it's quite remarkable. And as I said, we've welcomed in the intervening years over 500,000 visitors. We average around 30,000 visitors a year. Before we had to cease operations temporarily, we were seeing a similar amount of students through our educational outreach programs in up to 14 counties, both here and in South Carolina. We have brought millions of dollars into the local economy. Back then, they estimated that for every visit to the museum, it generated an additional $17 to our economy. Today, we conservatively say it's about $25 for each visit. So you can do the math on that. And so we've certainly helped encourage and help sustain the economic viability of our community. Of course, you know what happened a year ago. We had, as did a great many organizations and businesses, have to make some very, very difficult decisions, including furloughing staff, shuttering our doors, and frankly not serving our mission as we had in the past. But Amanda Williams, Mandy, over here is our deputy director, and we were able, with some PPP money, to keep her on, and she and her staff, another staff member we were able to keep on, did well over 100 original programs online, videos and science experiments that kids could do at home with material in their house. So it was cost effective for them. We did that at no cost because their time was being underwritten with the PPP loan, and so it's a tribute to them for the work that they've done to do that. So our original vision, their original vision, was to engage children of all ages in a meaningful way and help them, a phrase I always like to use is self-actualize. We engaged youth from age 10 down to infants, but their original vision, as I said, was to engage all our youth, hence the factory, a place to meet and make. And by design, our intention is to engage kids 11 on up into their teens, also adults and grandparents. The concept that we use, the phrase that we use, is whole family engagement. With the expansion of the museum, we will be growing from an 11,000 square foot children's museum to a 27,000 square foot campus. We're going to be, and I think most of you know, the factory is themed around maker spaces, the maker movement, so there will be a lot of kind of open-ended laboratories here. There's a tech lab right behind us over here is going to be a workshop with power and hand tools. I'm standing at what will be the entrance. Watch your step. But there will be a balcony here, which is going to lead you from Taylor Street with a dramatic view of a garbage, the garden, once that's done. And of course, right over here is going to be, just to my left there, a massive new addition to the building, which is the elevator and stair tower, which is going to dramatically, we're really going to create a new architectural icon for this community, and it's going to be quite extraordinary. Phase 2, as I think most of you know, will consist of building that tower, putting an elevator in it, and one that fits, that's an inside joke, and of course this balcony, doing all the plumbing infrastructure downstairs, and also for the bank of restrooms, which are going to be built under the balcony down there. So dramatic components for phase 2 that will tee up phase 3, which is, no, this is not finished space, which will be the interior fit out of downstairs, this floor, and upstairs. Downstairs will be our tech lab and also the food studio, which is going to be a culinary laboratory, I think is a good way to describe it. So a community is characterized in part by what it invests in, and in this case, Rutherford, Ton, and Rutherford County have invested in families. And that is reflected in the transformations that are taking place, specifically in Rutherfordton. If you look to the right, the Norris Library is going through kind of a renaissance. We're partnering with them on programs that connects to the Purple Martin Trail, which links us along a cultural and natural corridor. Obviously, you leave the Norris Library. The town of Rutherfordton has converted the Woodrow Jones Building into a public meeting space, and so there's a lot of convening that goes on in there. The Tourism Development Authority offices are in that building. And then you, of course, come to KidSenses, the factory building. There's going to be a connection. We're working with the town of Rutherfordton to make a visitor-friendly connection between these two buildings. And so really, and then, of course, we're going to completely renovate the garden area here. So that's pretty dramatic. And if any of you have been to Kiwanis Park, you know what a fantastic new addition that is for our community, a fantastic new annex. The one thing I did not mention, is also we have the Bechtler House and Heritage Center, which is over on 6th Street. So if you add all that up, along with the most extraordinary collections of pre-Civil War structures, houses in the state of North Carolina, I've always been saying in the county, it's in the entire state. You have this rich cultural destination, of which we're, I think, going to be a flagship. We kicked off our campaign with a generous contribution. I can't believe this is back in 2015. Mr. Mayor, thank you. Council members, thank you. Mr. Barrick, thank you. And that was the spark. That was really the spark that got things moving. Since then, we have raised some additional money, and I'm happy to say we've raised over $2.2 million since that, along with that first gift. We've got another, it's amazing. We have about another $500,000 plus to go. Every time I'm not making eye contact with our contractors over here, because each time we go to a new phase, they go like, well, the cost of steel has gone up about 30%. And so anyway, I'm just not going to look at them. So we have, because money is the fuel that runs the engine, that controls the timing of this. We have phase construction, so we completed phase 1 construction, which was the stabilization of this building, and it was an old building. It's 100 years old. If you were 100 years old, you'd need a lot of stabilization too. And so that's been done. All the windows are new. As you can see, the entrances are all new, and it's really quite beautiful. Someone I hadn't mentioned yet who will be speaking is Mary Hazlip, and there she is. Raise your hand, Mary. And Mary is one of the partners of Hazlip Studios. She and her husband Reb and associates actually did the original KidSenses design, both the exhibit program and the building itself. We competitively sought architects literally from across the state, from here, actually here and Philadelphia and Wilmington. But they got the contract. They got the contract because they brought the vision, because they brought the experience and the passion for creating remarkable experiences for children. As I said, funds are the fuel that makes this happen. And to echo Doug Barrick at the Kiwanis Park groundbreaking, he said it's always dangerous when you talk about and list your funders. But I would be remiss if I did not list, because there would be the sin of omission. And but I would be remiss if I didn't mention, as I have, the town of Rutherfordton, which sparked this campaign. Generous contributions from the Stonecutter Mills Foundation, the RHI Legacy Foundation, and really without the support of those three entities, I don't think we would have had the faith to really move this, certainly not at the speed at which we have. Also, the state of North Carolina gave us $250,000, and I thank David Rogers for helping that. Mike Hager was instrumental in bringing that about. The Temkin Foundation was a generous contributor. Most recently, American Zinc Products has gotten on board, and I'm happy to announce that today. Pre-press release that they're supporting this. And then just before that, we had the largest single contributions that we have received for this, transformative contributions. As most of you know, perhaps all of you know, we received $550,000 from the Glenn and Lucille Daniels Foundation, which is... Words fail. It's a fitting legacy to a legendary educator, someone who was passionate for teaching children, specifically science, is heralded throughout the state. Lucy wrote many school books, the number is astonishing. It's Shay Guffey over there, who is the head of Lucy and Glenn's foundation. I had the pleasure of meeting her only once or twice, but she was charismatic and a remarkable person, and we are so proud to have that legacy. We also, as you know, received a $300,000 grant from Facebook. They have been supporting us throughout the year. Yes, and throughout the years, and this was one of those unexpected. I mean, we had applied for a much more modest amount, and I always have to tell this story. We got turned down, and the next day I had a phone call from Katie Comer, who is the regional representative for Facebook, and she called and said, "You must feel pretty bad about this." And yes, I do. And she said, "Well, let me change your mood, all right?" They decided, and she was very instrumental, as were others, in sort of upping the ante, that this was just the kind of project that they believe in and think is an important part of their portfolio for community investment. So that was fantastic. We also have, as I mentioned, some of our founders here. Sadly, one is not, but Katie Hunt, who is our board treasurer, and was very instrumental in getting this organization off the ground, and also has and continues to be a key supporter financially of this organization, and we are very grateful to that. And as you know, Dick Wilkins, who sadly passed away early this year, actually, such a remarkable man. I did have the pleasure of getting to know him quite well. And he has been, and even with his passing, continues to be a supporter of the museum. There are many others, and I apologize to those of you whom I have omitted, and I trust there will continue to be many more. So the factory is going to be a very different kind of factory. This is a community, as you know, that the economic drivers for this community were factories and mills. And they made products to help build our community. And now in the new factory, youth are going to work in the factory to create a different kind of product. And that is that they're going to build their own lives and create the economy of the future. And we don't know what that's going to be yet. But we know we're going to play a key role in ensuring that they have the means, and we hope the desire and the attitude and the aptitude to succeed in that. So again, I thank you all for being here. We got sort of a real A-list of speakers lined up for you here. And next up is Alex Bell, our board president and a longtime friend and supporter of the museum. And so, Alex, where are you? There we go.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here. Willard, you told a great story, and I don't want to repeat any of that, but it is quite a story on how we're even here today. But I'll stick to my knitting, and what I'm here about today as my part and parcel of this is I want to thank you on behalf of the board for coming out and for your ongoing and unwavering support of KidSenses, and as we move into the Factory 2.0, keeping us on the rails and moving ahead, looking ahead, moving the needle for kids and education in Rutherford County and the surrounding areas. As an individual board member, I am truly honored, and as I look back over the years and remember pulling nails in the original building with Katie urging us along. I'll use a nice euphemism, but I won't. But it was a lot of hands-on there. But we, looking back, and as a Rutherfordian, I am truly honored to be part of this organization. I'm honored to be part of this board, and I love the board who support us today. We have continuity, as Katie's been mentioned, from the original to the new. The mission hasn't changed. It's just evolving, and we want to keep moving ahead in Rutherford County. And we won't be able to do it without your continued support, but we truly appreciate everything to date. So thank you for coming out on this day, and I will hand off to those who have more to add to the agenda. Thank you very much.
I told you we had the A-list here. Next up, Mr. Mayor. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm our future mayor. Oh, I wasn't supposed to say that, was I? No. I mentioned Mandy earlier, and Mandy Williams, our renowned deputy director.
All right, well, hello again, everybody, and like I said, or like Alex said, kind of going to keep it a little short here. But first of all, I'm really glad to see so many people have turned out to support us today, and I just wanted to share a couple of my thoughts with all of you. It's always been the mission of KidSenses to develop an understanding of the children to understand themselves better and their world through a fun, hands-on learning experience. And that's, like I said, it's always been our mission, but we're going to expand that, and I cannot think of any better way to do that other than our expansion, which you're standing in, the factory. Through this expansion, we can continue to reach and grow with the children of our communities beyond their elementary years. We have the honor to support and inspire the generation of tomorrow. The innovators, the artists, the engineers, these are the minds of our future. And that's a beautiful thing because the children are our future. This is an ideology that I feel like everybody in this room agrees with and feels passionately about, because you've taken the time to not only be here, but to support the museum and our expansion in every step of the way. Projects like this would not be possible without the overwhelming support that we've received. Whether you've supported us through financial donations or through a helping hand or even just a good word of encouragement. It's all very necessary in this process, and we couldn't do it without all of you. And thank you very much. Thank you.
You'd think I could read my own list, you know? It's right here. Mr. Mayor, Jimmy Dancy, everybody.
Now, Willard has already brought it up, so I feel compelled that I have to respond. He and I were in a meeting yesterday morning, and he reminded of me, be honest with you, I've forgotten all about it, but he reminded me that, I don't remember it all, but I'll take his word for it. Okay. He reminded me that I'd made that commitment at the last board meeting. Now, I'll assure you and tell you this, as an experienced politician, what I did, I turned it over to our town manager, Mr. Doug Barrett. I don't know what happened. But thank all of you for being here. I personally want to thank Willard and staff, this board. In a grand scheme of things, it doesn't seem like it's too many years ago that we had some concerned citizens that had dreams of having some kind of activity for young people right on Main Street. What a terrific idea. Well, what did you do about ideas? You go to work. They did. Thank you to this board. Thank you for continuing that dream of having it on another street behind, but continuing the process of thinking about our community. As we look back on this year, it's been a very challenging year for all of us in many, many ways. Thank Willard and this great board for not letting this project become a casualty of a pandemic. It could have very easily happened that way, but that in turn speaks volumes about this board and Willard and his staff, but also it speaks volumes about this community, because we stand behind good projects, things that we can become involved in. As we mentioned just a few weeks ago down at Kiwanis Parks, we realize how important that is to having partners but having commitment from your own community. That is extremely important. And each person that had a part in that, and you here today, should take some pride. And when you look around and see what's going to be, have some pride that you had a part in it. So I thank each and every one of you that had a part of this. And I thank Willard and staff and this board for your commitment to this community. Now, Jackson will continue to be entertained by KidSenses, and eventually he will graduate to this building. But he, along with Gigi and myself, will always remember this day. Jackson, what do you think about the factory? Thank you. Thank you.
Jimmy, apparently you're not the only politician in the family. Next up is the person who apparently does not control the weather, our amazing town manager, Doug Barry.
Willard, I went back and checked my notes from the meeting last month, and I actually misordered. I had the good weather for the ribbon cutting, not the groundbreaking. So, just like the town had perfect weather at Kiwanis Park a few weeks ago, we'll reserve that for you guys and Champion Construction when we're here celebrating the grand opening of this wonderful place. But I'm excited today about the factory. When we think about the word factory, factories are not what they used to be. Factories today are hubs of innovation, they're hubs of creativity, they're hubs of an economic engine that drive our economy forward and our youth into opportunities. And that's exactly what this building will do. When we talk about opportunities in our community for ways for our youth to stay here, to grow, and to be a part of what happens here, to find well-paying jobs that entertain their educational opportunities, those begin in buildings like this. And so what fitting of a name than the factory for us to allow children in our community to learn more about who they are and what they can become right here in Rutherfordton and Rutherford County. So I'm delighted to continue to be a part of what happens here. I'm excited that this is a vision, like Willard said, that started well over 2 decades ago with KidSenses, but close to half a decade ago with the town's investment with the Purple Martin Greenway, our master plans for Court Street, this entire corridor through here in our downtown area, the relocation of our Public Works building, the investment of Kiwanis Park. You're starting to see a long-term vision for this part of our community to grow together, and the factory is the flagship of that investment. The only thing that I am disappointed in is Willard at one point had a slide coming from the 2nd floor down, so maybe somebody from the Hazlip studio will tell us about that tube slide that's missing. But with that, there are other things that are going on in our community that are dovetailing nicely into what happens here at the factory. Willard talked marvelously about all of the opportunities in this area. But walking just down the main street from here, our Norris Library is celebrating 100 years of literacy in our community. And they are committed to becoming a library for the factory, to be able to have STEM kits, to be able to have reading material, educational material, reference material, technology material for youth that come to the factory that are engaged with the wonderful things that happen here, and then to further that as they leave. And so I'm excited about that we're able to not only spur that little bit of creativity here, that we're able to continue that investment through what we're doing in a partnership with KidSenses and our young adult material, our STEAM and STEM material at the Norris Library. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the next esteemed speaker, but continue to invest in our community. When we revitalize buildings like this and invest in ourselves, we invest in our future. And what better way to do that with our children?
Thank you, Doug. And I mentioned the RHI Legacy Foundation, and I should say Legendary Legacy Foundation. You all are familiar with all the many worthy projects they have supported, and you're standing in one. So I'd like to bring Terry Hines up to the podium here.
Thank you, Willard. I resemble the remark that Willard made to the construction group. When I see Willard, I avoid eye contact because I know the next word is, when's the next funding cycle? We need to get in line for it. Alex, Willard, Katie, the entire board, you're to be congratulated for bringing such a valuable asset to our community, and we really appreciate the opportunity to be a part of it. I couldn't help but reminisce as I was hearing Willard go through things. In my previous life, I was a part of a factory, and Katie may remember this, but I was invited to come up to one of the first meetings. I joined Jimmy Tanner, I joined Dick Wilkins. Katie, I don't know if you were in that meeting or not. Laura was there, and we started talking about KidSenses, and they were looking to raise money. Dick had just made his first commitment of $100,000, and unfortunately for me, I was in the process of starting to downsize a textile operation. And I didn't get to be involved in it. I wished I had. So I'm very fortunate now to be coming in on the back end and being a part of it, and I'm thankful for that. RHI Legacy Foundation, we look at ourselves as trying to be the best stewards that we can be for the monies that we have the opportunity to be able to present back to this community. We will be 7 years old this coming May 31st. And in 7 years, we've given away a little bit over $12 million, which is just phenomenal to think about. We definitely look at KidSenses, and all the work that's being done here is one of the things that we're most proud of. We're proud of all of them, but this is one that's really special, and we're glad to be a part of it, and we look forward to continue to be a part of it as we go forward. Thank you, Willard.
Thank you, Terry. Before we move on to our next speaker, could I have all of our current and former board members just kind of step forward or raise your hand or identify yourself there? See them all here? This is why we're here, and along with the rest of you, but thank you. You are appropriately being honored for your vision. And speaking of people to honor, Shay Guffey with the Glenn and Lucille Daniels Foundation, if you wouldn't mind coming up to the podium here.
Sorry, I have to get a little prepared here. As he said, I'm Shay Guffey, and right now I serve as the president of the foundation of the Glenn Lucy Hampton Daniel Foundation, but I was their niece, so just wanted to put that little part in there. The Glenn and Lucille Hampton Daniel Foundation was established in 2005. Glenn and Lucy's hope and vision for this foundation was to assist specific organizations in the community that shared their personal interest. Both Glenn and Lucy were raised on farms in Rutherford County. Glenn learned to be an innovative thinker and hard worker during his years on the farm. Lucy was able to expand her critical thinking skills and love for biology as she grew up on her family farm. Neither Glenn nor Lucy had an aversion for hard work. Causes for which they felt passion were afforded their hard work, their prayers, and their endless networking. Glenn was a wonderful salesperson. He used those skills to raise countless funds for various organizations in our county. Lucy was a career teacher, an author, but most importantly, a lifelong learner. One of Lucy's dearest friends, Rosemary Smith, described her perfectly, and I quote, "Lucy was an example of perpetual motion. She was always on the go, always taking opportunities to learn new things, always teaching or reteaching biology concepts to anyone who would listen." Rosemary also had a wonderful description of Glenn. She called him Lucy's wingman. Glenn supported Lucy in every endeavor that she undertook. He tried to be the voice of reason at times, but Lucy had a way of persuading Glenn to see her view. They made an unstoppable pair for which Rutherford County has benefited in numerous ways. Today, the Glenn and Lucille Hampton Daniel Foundation Board continues to memorialize their goal of enriching lives in the surrounding communities. The Daniel Foundation Board believes in the vision of KidSenses and the factory. We wholeheartedly support the importance of teaching individuals concepts of science, technology, engineering, and math. STEM education has a bounty of benefits, including improving creativity, increasing team collaboration, developing communication skills, empowering critical thinking, boosting curiosity, and teaching the importance of taking initiative. KidSenses, the factory, will allow young people to explore STEM education in an inviting and fun atmosphere. The Glenn and Lucille Hampton Daniel Foundation Board is honored to support the factory. We feel that this mission parallels with Glenn and Lucy's vision. Thank you.
Shay, you're going to regret speaking here because now I'm going to hire you to write all my speeches. Okay? So just be prepared. Next up, we have Mary Hazlett, who, as I mentioned, is our wonderful architect who has designed this facility. So, Mary.
Thank you. Oh, nope, that's Derek's invoice. As I review this, I'll see what I can do about that slide. So, wow, it is great to see all of your faces, or part of your faces, here today at this groundbreaking event. I can't believe it has been over 20 years now since we started this journey with you all to bring KidSenses to Main Street. The factory is going to be an exciting complement to that facility on this entire campus. And I can say that for Hazlett Studio and all of our team at Sims Engineering Group and Burr & Cole Engineering, we are very proud to have been invited back to participate on this journey with you all. Now more than ever, kids and families really need additional resources to learn and create and explore, and that's what the factory will do for everyone. So congratulations on helping bring this facility to Rutherfordton and to all the kids of North Carolina and all of the visitors that are going to come through. Thank you.
Before we go on one more time, could who all from the council is here? Henry, Doug, Mr. Mayor, Doug Barrick. Do we have anybody else here? Just wanted to point out. No, he's here. Yep. And just wanted to point out, and there's Steve Garrison, our county manager. Didn't see you back there. These are the community leaders. Without their support and influence and their wisdom, this wouldn't be possible because it takes people who are in a position to make the kinds of decisions that are critical to making a project like this go forward, or whether it's street improvements, which they've contributed to for that, or just ensuring that obstacles cease to be obstacles. So anyway, thank you. Next up, we've got the tag team, father and son contractors, Michael and Derek Champion, and come on out.
Looks like he's going to leave me this one by myself. Just to bring up the slide, Willard, I asked Doug how long he's been waiting on a slide for Kiwanis Spark, so we're going to want one. We need to order that now.
Contractors don't pass the buck.
I don't think I have a future in politics, though. So, just want to thank everybody for allowing me to be here. This is twice now in the last month that I've been able to speak in front of some of Rutherford County's finest, and I think that speaks volumes for your county and what you're doing. It's just, we've got a grand opening and then a groundbreaking all within the same month. You guys are doing great things for the betterment of your community, and I think some of the surrounding areas should take notes. I do believe in this project as well. We were brought on in 2017, correct?
Yeah.
Something like that. So 17, but Willard kind of shared his vision then. I believe in trade work. I believe in hands-on learning, and I think that the younger people in America could greatly benefit from this. So we are proud to be a part of this. To to the donors, I know Willard's mentioned all of you guys, but I don't know that I've met anyone. Would love to meet you before we leave, but just want you to know, as he speaks, he's asking for money to hand to us to an extent. But I don't. We don't.
Contractors usually kick in a little.
That's right. So I don't take that lightly. I just want you to know that money given, out of generosity, and that comes from hard work. The gentleman that spoke. You guys have made a successful living because you've employed, numerous people over the course of years. So anyway, you've worked very hard to be at the position to be able to donate for the betterment of your community, and I do not take that lightly. So when we work here, we do keep cost in mind, and we do want to operate in the most cost-effective way moving forward. So if that gives any comfort at all, I want you guys to know that we do have best interest in mind as well. So. But Hazlip, they've done awesome. We do love design. Willard mentioned that this will be an architectural showpiece for this area, and that's true. As you guys have seen the renderings, there is no other building like that in, probably you'd have to go to Asheville, honestly, to see something that's on this scale. So I think it'll be a great attraction for Rutherford County. But thanks for allowing us to be here, and we look forward to completing it for you.
I'm going to make a short joke. Jordan, you're back there. And we have Senator Tillis's representative here representing the senator, so thank you. Next up, this project is part of a larger series of projects that are being supported by the Rutherford County Tourism Development Authority. I'm currently the chair. I roll off at the end of June. Don Kaysen is the director of the authority, and the authority is in the process of developing well over $20 million worth. It's probably going to be 30 before we're done, of tourism assets throughout the county, which are transformative. And very grateful to the town of Rutherfordton, who requested that this project be part of that project. Each of the projects are selected and envisioned by the towns themselves. So I'm not going to take Don's time here, but Don is also a visionary leader, a passionate promoter and believer in what we're trying to accomplish in this county, and it's been a real joy working with him. So Don?
Thank you, Willard, and appreciate that introduction. And on behalf of the TDA board and our staff and the Rutherford-bound partners and the Tourism Advisory Committee, it's an absolute pleasure to be here. And Willard, I do thank you for your service on the board, the TDA board. You've been, as you can see from this project here, Willard's a visionary also, and he's been very supportive of the TDA and the mission and the vision that we have to market and promote Rutherford County as a destination. And the KidSenses and the factory project is a tremendous asset for Rutherford County and Rutherfordton. And I want to congratulate and thank each of the board members and the contributors to the factory and KidSenses. You've heard about all those contributors and foundations, and they are truly the spark that will get this building built. But I'm here just to give you a real quick update. Rutherford Bound, as Willard had mentioned, is a community and tourism asset development program that developed from the TDA board. The vision that the TDA has is, yes, it's our job to focus and bring people to Rutherford County, and so they can visit and have a good time when they're here. But this board has taken it a step farther, and their vision is, we want to create a better place to live, work, and play. And the TDA and the Rutherford Bound program is about helping create and work with our communities, because without our towns and our communities and entities like KidSenses, without that, we wouldn't have a good place to come live and work and play. I mean, our towns make us, and we are, as a TDA, we are so proud to partner with each of those towns. And if you go to rutherfordbound.com, you will learn about all of our future projects that we have. You can go there and create or to make donations to any specific project. All of the funds that are given to these specific projects through the rutherfordbound.com website, all of them, every dollar goes to a specific project. There's no administration cost for that. The TDA is covering the administration and the marketing and doing that. But the TDA is also partnering with all of the towns and giving back funding to help all of these projects. We're giving back. The TDA is giving back to the communities, and we're just so excited about the partnerships that the towns are providing. For example, I know you've been seeing some groundbreaking ceremonies going on, but this month, or excuse me, in the month of May, we're going to have a ribbon cutting at Lake Lure at the boat marina. We're going to be, in late May, we'll be doing the ribbon cutting in Spindale, the downtown Phase 1 streetscape. We're here today working with and partnering with KidSenses to promote the groundbreaking of Phase 2 of the factory, which is awesome. We've got, just last month, we had the Kiwanis Park ribbon cutting. We're also going to be working with Chimney Rock, downtown, little old Chimney Rock. Don't tell Chimney Rock I said little, but I live there and work there and have a business there, so I can get away with saying that. But little old Chimney Rock, they're going to have their groundbreaking, or excuse me, ribbon cutting. We've already had a groundbreaking. They're going to have a ribbon cutting of their Phase 1 of their streetscape enhancements, which is really exciting. So I say all that to say that Rutherford Bound is a community asset tourism development program for the entire county that will promote Rutherford County as a place to live, work, and play. And when we create that, we'll create a place that people want to visit and live. And we're just so excited about that, where Rutherford Bound and where things are going. And we look forward to continued partnerships with the towns and KidSenses and so forth as we go forward. And I want to thank all of my TDA staff, TDA board members, and our Rutherford Bound partners. We have the agency, we have PMA, and Destination by Design, who is doing some things to help us keep going. We've just got tremendous partnerships that will have Rutherford Bound and working with our communities for a long time to come. And again, Willard, I want to congratulate you and your board on a tremendous project, because let's face it, creating a better place to live, work, and play is about our kids and our children. And the factory and the future kids will be able to learn what it means to be in leadership roles and learn about their future. So again, thank y'all and good luck and congratulations.
You didn't say my favorite phrase. Don always says the option of doing nothing is not an option. And we all live that here. Anyway, we've been here about an hour. I appreciate your stamina and your willingness to stand for the whole time. And again, to be redundant, I'm eternally grateful for all of your support for what we are trying to accomplish. Thank you personally for your support, but more importantly, thank you for embracing the mission and the significance of what is happening in this space here. So I think we've managed to get maximum rain going right now as we wind up. I hope you brought umbrellas. We have a rental service. It's another revenue stream. Anyway, thank you all. Stay safe. Have a lovely weekend. And see you at the groundbreaking. Ribbon cutting.
Photoshop some dirt in. Don't dig too hard, Derek's going to charge us.